r/ask Reddit. What is your personal? I think it's wrong, but it shouldn't be illegal. Prostitution. This thing will still exist, even if it's against the law. It is million times better if it is official and has law behind. No risky shit. With infections and slavery style life. Medical help monthly for workers. I'm happy that my country has it, even though I'm not a client. This is one I bet more people probably agree with than expected, but it would take forever to get a big push because anyone lobbying for it would be labeled badly before being able to put up the reasonable argument. Prostitution legal of Australia. Nothing gone wrong so far except divorce rate dropped. It shouldn't be illegal to whistleblow on your government, especially now with this net neutrality business. Agreed. Whistleblowing being illegal doesn't exactly encourage transparency. Why do you think the government would want to encourage transparency? Ethics. It's technically not illegal, but only if you've reported it up first and gone through so many hoops that it basically becomes impossible for you to not whistleblow legally. Drugs. Put my tax dollars to better use, please. Or better yet, put the money towards treatment for a small time. If you get people off drugs, you take away demand. Take away demand and the supply will stop coming and you won't have to spend as much in the future, which can then be used for better things. Do that, and corporate-owned prisons stop getting prisons and stop getting money for the number of prisoners they have. It still blows my mind that America has privately owned prisons, with most having a contract with the state that they have to keep the prison at a certain percentage, mostly 90% and upward. All this does is give the state more incentive to put more people into prison, because otherwise they would have to pay a fine for breaching contract. Flag burning. Flag desecration. If it's legal to burn the flag of the country you're in, it only makes you look stupid if you choose to do so. I'm burning this flag that represents the country that freely allows me to do so. Yeah, you're stupid and taking your freedom for granted, but some countries make it a crime, and that's just as stupid. It's just a piece of cloth, and if you own that cloth it should be yours to do that which you wish. Texas v. Johnson. As a protest, it is not illegal. It's protected free speech. As a way to retire flags, it is both legal and respectful. My brother's Eagle Scout project was retiring flags. Any law where the only victim is the person doing it should be repealed. For example, using drugs should not be a crime, but if you then have a car accident while high, you should be punished. Punish people for consequences of actions. I agree, but driving high should be illegal. Crash or no crash. It already is under DUI laws. A DUI covers both alcohol and drugs. The problem is that a system centered on that idea only punishes people after they have harmed someone else, and does nothing to protect the innocent. Fundamentally and personally, I agree with the idea of leaving other people the duck alone as long as they aren't hurting anyone else, but from a society-wide governing point of view, you have to look out for the greater good, and protecting the innocent foremost. That's where things get complicated. Exactly what actions you outlaw for the protection of bystanders. Exactly what freedoms you have to rein in order to protect the safety and welfare of the community. That will always a necessary but extremely difficult and treacherous line to draw. And wherever you draw it, there will always be some who say it's too far, and others that say not far enough. I agree that the current system, any current system really, so take your pick, is not doing a very good job of fairly reasonably drawing this line. Using your own example, waiting until someone is hurt before you do anything is irresponsible. Clearly the line of punishable offense needs to be drawn before there's an actual victim. Being intoxicated equals should not be a crime. Getting intoxicated at inappropriate time, place, or attempting to perform an action, like driving, that potentially endangers the public while intoxicated equals should be a crime. Hate speech. I don't like it, not one bit, but as long as it is just speech and not action. I don't think words should be illegal, and I don't think the government should decide what I can and can't hear. Also, just because you can say it doesn't mean I have to listen, or like it. It also means I can say go duck yourself. Eating grilled cheese and tomato soup but not dipping your sandwich. No, edit. Those people probably think melts and grilled cheese are the same. A lot of show parent stuff is gross, but not bad enough to call abusive. If you do have a prodigy like Tiger Woods or Sire Video Dance Girl, They might need to be pushed pretty hard to reach their potential. There are right ways, wrong ways, and abusive ways to do so. Maddie Ziegler is the name you're looking for. I grew up with someone who was gifted. Their mom wasn't abusive but definitely pushed for perfection, and it ended with them getting very burnt out and resentful towards their mom again. The mom wasn't abusive, just really set on their child succeeding. My friend ended up having problems with an overly heavy sense of responsibility to the point that it was crushing them. Didn't get everything done? Time to freak out and have an anxiety attack, because you'll be a failure if you don't succeed 100% of the time. Pushing children too much too early doesn't do them any favors and often results in anxiety issues later in life. Euthanasia. Seriously, if I am in a state where I am incontinent or in pain every day, or am pretty much only still alive through medical means, and I can't recover or attain a quality of life anymore, then what's the point? Move to Oregon. Not to sound crass, but they do have a system for that. I don't wanna say you have to jump through hoops, but it is rigorous. Multiple therapy sessions with 2-3 doctors and whatnot. My grandpa kind of did this by giving up chemo. It was the only thing keeping him alive, and he said duck it. It managed a few months of quality instead of a year of miserable pain and discomfort. Cheating on people you are in a relationship with. It's very wrong, but a personal matter. Plus, we don't have enough prison space to house all the cheaters if we do make it a crime. In Italy is 100% legal to cheat in any situation. So Christina didn't do anything wrong to Ezio. This all makes sense now. Hijab and other religious coverings for women. It's definitely a symbol of a shitty mentality that represses sexuality, represses freedom, treats women as objects. I really wish this kind of mentality died and no one wanted to or felt the need to or were forced to cover themselves again. But then again, hey, you are free to wear what you want. I was surprised to learn that many Muslim women don't actually consider the hijab to be a form of oppression. Most of them really don't like the burqa though. The men are supposed to wear a hat to cover their hair while they pray, and women apparently wear a hijab for the same reason, but don't quote me on that. From what I understand, there is some pretty sexist stuff in Islam and other religions, and I certainly don't agree with forcing a woman to wear it if she doesn't want to, but I do agree that people should be free to wear whatever they want. Religious freedom is a human right. Just don't go enforcing it on others. Personally, I think it's degrading to force Muslim women to give up the hijab. It's not right that women can't be topless in public, but I wouldn't find it liberating at all if someone forced me to walk around like that. Having loads of kids that you can't afford to look after. Having loads of kids that the planet can't afford to sustain. Selling your own organs. Obviously not someone else's but your own. The problem with this is creating a market for organs. If there's a market and money involved, people will take or coerce other people's organs from their bodies. Why? Because my body, my choice. Obviously this has to come with a really good understanding of what you're doing beforehand. If you wish to proceed, then do so. Also, we let people duck up their bodies with body modifications. What's the difference between that and this? Sleeping in your car instead of driving drunk. Huh, why is that wrong? This is going to vary enormously with how much you drink and what your tolerance is, but waking up hungover and immediately driving home isn't the best plan. When I was drinking, I used to kind of go in and out of leftover drunkenness the next morning, and I definitely should not have been driving in that state. Kinder eggs. Stop trying to murder our children, communist. Mój sad no nawozdaśnoj poruszkaj polno agree. My hovercraft is full of eels. Underage children depicted sexually in drawn pornography. Like, that shit is whack. But if it helps those in need release some of their needs, it's actually helpful to society. There are a lot of questions around this issue coming up around the potential production of childlike sex dolls, robots, and CGI or otherwise digitally modified pornography made by consenting adults that look like children and the finished product. I mean, the whole thing about not allowing pedophiles to duck children is to protect the children. I know, child sex dolls is kind of a ducked up idea, but it can really only do good, unless it can be proven that porn incites people to have sex. I think that pedophiles ducking a robot that looks like a child instead of the real thing is a pretty swell idea. After all, the idea of curing pedophilia is pretty much the same as that of curing homosexuality. I get what you're saying. The thing is that it drives a market which includes real child pornography, exploitation, trafficking and prostitution. That's why it's in an ethical grey area instead of just being a decent solution to an awful problem. Euthanasia. But it should only be made legal if there's no pressure on anyone to take it. I would have the exact opposite view. I think it's morally right in a lot of scenarios, but it's so hard to legislate for. A 16-year-old willingly dating an adult. Gross, sure, but a mentally sound, average 16-year-old knows what the hell they're doing. My husband is a so because he dated a girl who was 16. Told him she was 18. He was 20. He got 10 years registration and she got jack shit, even though the judge had her fake it in evidence. Ugh, I hate that shit. People acting like a 16-year-old in a consensual relationship is a victim. I think there is a definite need for laws protecting minors in this regard. Teenagers on average do not have the emotional maturity stability to get involved with someone significantly older than them, and more importantly lack the self-defenses, for lack of a better term, to protect themselves from being manipulated and exploited by someone older with more experience and authority. But the black and white, line in the sand style rules we have now, that is, if it's 1 second past their 18th b-day then go for it. That's hot, dude. But if it's 1 day before their birthday then you're sick pedo whose life is going to be ruined. I think the law should be something along the lines of, it's a crime to have sex with a minor who is more than 4 years younger than you. Plus there should be a legal exception for any case where the defendant can reasonably argue that they were given solid reason to believe the minor was of legal age. I've heard some states have rules on that in place, but it's not universal. The fact that your husband was convicted despite the fake it even being shown as evidence is just insane and criminal. Which brings me to another point. The current use and arrangement of the sex offenders list is set up horribly. It literally puts people who got drunk and peed in a bush in the middle of the night 2 blocks from a school on the same list as rapists and child molesters. There is no level or rank on the SO list. No asterisk next their name label leading to an explanation. No chance for them to explain or defend themselves. Nope, they lose out on jobs, get shunned, and judged, and denied full freedoms the instant their name goes on the list. 18-year sleeping with their 17-year partner equals SO drunk dude arrested while streaking equals SO teenager taking a nude selfie equals SO different teenager receiving that selfie equals SO any number of minor offenses can land you on the SO list if the prosecutor/judge just happens to feel like charging you that way. I've ranted about this topic more than once, and I don't even have any personal connection to the issue. It's just one of the most blatant examples of taking a set of laws intended to protect people and instead using it to ruin innocent lives. Just because hey, we can do it because it's within the technical letter of the law and it makes us look good. So let's go for it. Which pisses me off so much. Mora Joanna. Just curious why you think it's wrong? Personally, as somebody that had the same thought, I just don't like the idea of mind-altering drugs. I have never used them and don't intend to. Don't like the idea of people getting addicted to these drugs and causing themselves a number of issues, both monetarily and socially. Don't like people that use them and do stupid things, driving under influence, committing crimes, stealing for the money, etc. I also hate the smell. Dear God, it smells awful to me, and it permeates through everything. That being said, I think it should be people's choice, and I feel that keeping it illegal only inhibits the possible good usages, the medicinal rather than recreational possibilities. Punish each crime individually rather than just the possible cause. Focus on the people that abuse rather than the people that just use. I dislike all of the people that have had careers cut short because of punishment for using the drug responsibly, by simply being in possession of it. The money spent combating it, that could be better spent regulating it. The regulation that could pay for itself if properly taxed. I don't think marijuana is particularly worse than alcohol, for the record. It's an addiction just the same, and is possibly more damaging to both health and property. Abuse of either is bad, although alcohol abuse is probably worse. No, Mora Joanna, it's like spice, but even dangerouser. For me, abortion I think it should be avoided at all costs, and I definitely consider it morally grey. But the health of living women should come before unborn fetuses, and making abortions illegal only puts the women who need abortions in danger. Let's make it legal, safe, rare, and in the meantime focus on the sex education that actually makes abortions unnecessary. Abortion. I am firmly pro-choice, because women aren't incubators and other humans should control what they do with their bodies, but that doesn't mean I can't have an opinion. Incest between adults. As long as both sides are consenting adults and you do not breed, there is no problem with it. Tons of things. No tangible victim. No crime. Just because I don't like a thing doesn't mean I get to use force, or have the government use force on my behalf, to make others abstain as well. The opposite also applies. I don't get to use force to make people do things I like either. Polygamy. Polygamy is absolutely disgusting. Honestly, it sickens me so much. A Greek prefix with a Latin suffix. It should be polyamory. I don't even think polygamy is wrong. It might be a bad idea for most people, but there is no rational reason for it to be illegal. Spewing racist bullshit. Like duck you for doing it. But if you're not inciting violence, say whatever the duck you want. Can we shun them socially though? If someone joins the military, they should be able to buy alcohol. That's mostly just an artifact of the weird no alcohol under 21 laws that only America seems to have. Sync it up with the rest of the world and there wouldn't be a problem. Modesty, specifically the legal requirements to wear clothes. It's stupid. The only life form on the entire earth that has a problem with nudity is humans. We're all born naked, but for some reason we're all scared of it and feel the need to hide it. While clothes have some practical uses, protection from weather, etc., it's really all about keeping certain bits covered. The rules don't even make sense. Somehow a bathing suit is fine, but wearing underwear in public will get you arrested. They cover the same amount. Just stupid. And let's not even talk about the fact that the rules are different between different places on Earth. It's all just contrived insanity. Farting on rude kids. He really didn't deserve it, though. Men ditching their partner and unborn child after an unexpected pregnancy. On one hand, it kind of makes the guy a dong to knowingly have a kid that he does not see or support in any way. But on the other, it is not like it is his choice whether or not the unborn child is kept, adopted, or aborted. The whole BDSM leather scene freaks me out, but I would never want to infringe on anyone's right to do what they want behind closed doors. I get that it freaks people out. That's fair enough. But were you just giving a kind of related answer to the question, or do you actually think it's wrong for people to do that? Those Terry's chocolate oranges. You shut your mouth this damn glorious minute or I will personally eat an entire chocolate orange. Abortion. In the end, you are ending a potential human life that otherwise wouldn't have been ended if you hadn't had the procedure. Whatever mental gymnastics need to be used to get around that moral issue is fine, because the consequences of making it illegal are way too high. Poorly performed black market abortions, babies left in dumpsters, overflowing orphanages, and even large amounts of unwanted children being raised by begrudging parents. What a world of shit that opens up. Keep it legal. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.